Hi, I'm Melissa Chalker, Executive Director of the New Jersey Foundation for Aging. Welcome to Aging Insights. Aging Insights is a production of the New Jersey Foundation for Aging. NJFA's mission is to improve aging in New Jersey and help older adults live in the community of their choice. Aging Insights is supported through sponsorships and viewer donations. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, please go to our website at www.njfoundationforaging.org or call us at 609-421-0206 for more information. Today we'd like to talk about falls. We will cover the risks, tips for prevention, including the importance of balance and the role of healthcare professionals in keeping you safe. Today our guests are Claire Mulry, Assistant Professor, Department of Occupational Therapy at Kean University, and Timothy Marshall, Assistant Professor, School of Physical Therapy at Kean University. So thank you both for joining me today and taking time out of your busy schedules there at the university where you're doing much work on this topic, and so we appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about it today. So Claire, I did want to start with you as we talk about ways to prevent falls, and we're going to talk about balance and exercise and how that all falls in. And we mentioned you're an instructor in the School of Occupational Therapy. Some of our guests might be wondering what occupational therapy is, and the often asked question, what's the difference between that and physical therapy when your doctor prescribes one or both for you, and why am I getting these, and what can they do for me, right?
Not an uncommon question,
Yes.
so thank you for the opportunity to explain it. As occupational therapists, we believe what occupies your time, your meaningful occupation. So going to work, going to school, playing with your kids, being a parent, skiing, whatever it is, those meaningful occupations give your life meaning, and your ability to participate in them gives you better health and quality of life. So occupational therapists are trained in the physical abilities similar to physical therapists. So we do physical, but we also do cognition, vision, psychosocial, leisure, and environmental modifications, which is one of my specialty areas of practice. And we will see people from birth to death, essentially across the lifespan, and we could treat them in their homes, in the community, in a psych hospital, in a rehab hospital, return to work programs, all over the place.
Yeah.
And so you may know us from doing handwriting with kids in school, or working on kids' ability to participate in school, or if someone's had a stroke or a brain injury, which is also where I've spent a lot of time getting back to it. My expertise comes from falls and aging in place. And so I look at environmental modifications. Every OT is trained in how your social and physical environment impacts these occupations. And so we'll look at increasing your abilities and also helping your physical environment decrease its barriers so that you can do the things you want to do.
I know people have said to me before, well, why would I need occupational therapy? I don't work anymore. You know, we're talking about older adults and retirees. You know, I don't work anymore. So our viewers should know if they are prescribed occupational therapy and they no longer work, it's for the other things that occupy your time.
Correct.
You know, and where a physical therapist might help you learn, you know, get better at walking after an injury or something. An occupational therapist is going to focus on those, on particular tasks, or as you said, even leisure activities, and how to improve upon those, right?
It could be getting back to dressing or walking to the bathroom. Everything we do does have a physical component, but it also has all those other things, your vision, your cognition. And so what is it that's important to you at this stage of your life? And let us help you maximize it. I like to say, I think we can help with literally everything. OTs can help across the lifespan and across all societal issues, fall prevention being one of them, where we have a really large role.
Yeah, and so I think that's important to note as we begin to talk about specifically falls, you know, that for aging in place, which is a specialty of yours, you know, it's important to know how to stay safe at home, because if you're in a facility, there is some onus on the runner, of the people running that facility and of the providers there to provide some safety for you. But at home, it's your responsibility to seek out ways to make yourself safe. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about your role in that and how we can help people. But let's first give our audience a little bit of idea of what we mean when we're talking about fall prevention, or what a fall could mean for someone if they fall at home, and what impact that could have on their life.
No one plans their fall.
No.
I've had one this year. I don't know about you or Tim, but no one plans them. 1 in 4 over adults, or 25% of adults over the age of 65, have a fall every year. And it's billions of dollars in our healthcare industry that's happening. And one of our national health priorities under Healthy People 2020 is to decrease that visit to about 4,600 people in 100,000. So it's millions of people falling every year. And once you fall, what starts to happen is you get afraid of falling. And so it starts to restrict how well you move and doing the things you want to do. Well, I went hiking, but I had a fall, so I hike less.
Right.
Or I was playing with my grandson and I fell, and so I do that a little less. And so that occupational circle, your meaningful activities start to shrink.
Sure.
And by doing that, you then get less physical activity in your life. You get less, and you may even start to socially isolate, because maybe you're afraid to go out when the weather's bad, or maybe you're afraid to go out because of the falls on the sidewalk outside of your house. And so we need to think about ways of looking at your life and what you wanted to do to make sure that you don't start restricting. Because once you have the fall, studies show that you're much less likely to move, and that fear of falling is actually way more restrictive than any injury that may come after that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up social isolation in that lens, because we often think about fall prevention or fall safety in preventing injury or what the impact it might have on your physical health if you fall. But there is a social component to that. Like you said, if people stop going out, and we've made such great strides, particularly here in New Jersey, on giving opportunity for people to age in place and to have some long-term care at home versus in a facility. But if you fall and then you are afraid to go have lunch with your friends or go play with your grandkids or all the things you mentioned, then your social circle does get smaller, and so it has a broader impact than just your physical health, right?
Yeah. And for the billions of dollars our country is playing in healthcare, 75% of that is coming out of Medicare and Medicaid monies. And so we, not only as individuals, as me, is creeping towards that 65 personally, he's younger than I, and you both are, it's not only for my own well-being, but it's also for my health as a taxpayer too, to understand that it makes sense on all of our parts to make our communities and understand this at a very preventative level. Yes, we can fix it after it happens, but if we can give you the tools to participate and prevent that social isolation, you're going to be healthier longer.
And I don't want to downplay the physical aspect, because it's very dangerous if you fall and hurt yourself. There are a lot of implications there for impact on your life. And so, as you said, we want to focus on prevention. You know, healing is good too, and if you do fall, there are professionals out there that will help you heal. But you know, we want to talk about prevention from that lens as well, because you can not only work from, and correct me if I'm wrong, from the angle of, you know, making your home safe and yourself safe against falls, but also protecting yourself that if you do fall, you may be less likely to have an injury if you have some safety precautions in place, or if you've been exercising and you've built up that muscle strength to protect your bones, which we'll get to in a little bit. I don't want to steal your thunder, Tim, but I know that that's a fact. So
that's 100% correct.
Yeah. What's one of the reasons why I try to make sure I exercise every day. So, you know, I think it's important for us to keep those in mind. So, are there any other impacts that you wanted to mention about falls before we sort of get into the prevention and safety aspects of it?
I think just recognizing that we can all do a little bit every day. Walking to your mailbox is enough. It doesn't have to be walking on a treadmill for 3 miles. It can really be just doing your activities of daily living every day, but getting into a habitual routine of incorporating some of these things in there will make a huge difference in your life.
Great. So I do want to move into talking about what are some of the things that put people more at risk for falling. So, you know, we're focusing sort of on that aging in place, you know, spectrum of people living in their own homes independently. So what is happening in people's homes that might put them more at risk for falling, or in their medical world that might put them at more risk for falling?
And Tim can absolutely give in here, but part of it is most people over the age of 65 are taking more than 5 medications, and the impact, so that polypharmacy that Tim will talk a little bit about.
Yeah, the concept of polypharmacy on multiple medications.
Yeah, so when you say polypharmacy, just means somebody who might be taking, you know,
2, 3,
or 4 medications or more.
And as we start to take more medications, that in and of itself increases our risk of falling, because it's the combination of medications, and there's certain medications or classifications of meds which have been shown to increase our risk more than others. So medications for blood pressure, then we may take diuretics, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, these different classifications where we take multiple types of medications increases our risk for falls.
Right, so people should pay attention not only to what their medical diagnosis is in terms of that might put them at risk, but also the medications they're taking could increase their risk of falls, and the interactions between their medications, right?
Yeah, exactly. And as the patient may not know what those interactions are, but there's a lot of great resources out there. Going to your local pharmacist, what we call a brown bag session. So taking your meds to the pharmacy, speaking with the pharmacist, and just they can help you kind of sort through those medications and help you understand what are some of the risk factors and potential interactions of your medications and what they may put you at risk for, such as falls.
Yeah, I think this is really great advice that, people think, I go to the pharmacy, I get my medication, there's a pharmacist there, but they don't think about that relationship. And so it is possible that you could walk into your pharmacy, your local pharmacy, with your medications and say, I'd like to speak with a pharmacist about the medications I'm taking and what some likely interactions or side effects could be?
Yeah, and then there's also different, a lot of our healthcare systems will have community health departments, and part of what they'll do is they may put together these community brown bag sessions where there'll be pharmacists or PharmDs available to you bring in your medications to kind of go over everything.
Yeah.
So it's a great resource to help us understand these things.
So if you live in an area like I do where your local hospital sends you a little magazine type thing with great articles in it and then this list of community classes, you should read that and look for that session and sign up, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Free.
And they're often free,
Right,
which is really important and great as well. The other thing I wanted to mention or ask you to talk about in that if we're talking about prescription medications, but sometimes people are taking over-the-counter things or particularly supplements and things they think might help their health. If they have joint pain, they might take a supplement that they've seen on TV that might help. And should they be talking to their doctor and or their pharmacist about the interactions there too that might put them more at risk for falls?
Yeah, before taking any sort of supplement, it's always best practice to always speak with your primary healthcare provider first. We're always seeing new supplements coming out, and they're supposed to help with pain or arthritis, and it may all well be good, but we should always, before starting to take those different types of supplements, to check with our primary care, because there may be unknown drug reactions, and so your primary care provider or whoever your main provider is really needs to be aware of those medications that you're taking. Or supplements or whatever it is.
And there's so much available at the pharmacy today when you walk in, and not only just supplements, but over-the-counter things for sinus pain or congestion, or if you have a cold. I think it's a really good suggestion to, not even just for the things that are locked and you have to ask the pharmacist for, but for other things as well, to maybe say to the pharmacist before you purchase it, I take XYZ, is there any reason I shouldn't take this?
Yeah, that's a great point. So with allergies, you'll go to the pharmacy, you go to Rite Aid, you go to Walgreens, and you'll pick out Allegra D or some other Claritin, and you're not quite sure. You should always check with the pharmacist. I'm interested in this medication. Here's the list that I currently take, and just making sure there's no adverse events. Always important to check that off.
I'm just baffled by how many choices there are now when I go look at the allergy section in particular.
And someone who suffers from allergies too, I think we have to also realize that's going to drain you of water, a decongestant, and so. One of the things, in addition to polypharmacy, is really looking at your hydration, because your high blood pressure medication, add a decongestant onto that, and you might get dehydrated. And the dehydration will lead to a drop in blood pressure potentially, which could lead to a syncopal or a fall episode where you pass out, or you're just dizzy and lightheaded. So making sure if you are taking medication, you increase the amount of water you're drinking, and really look at the amount of caffeine you're drinking in relation to that, because they interact with each other as well. So you'll think you're doing all the right things, but you really need to add something as simple as just making sure you drink water without any caffeine related to it, so that you can increase your blood volume so that you don't get lightheaded and fall.
Drinking enough water is good overall advice, but it's great to link that to falls and the impact that medication could have on dehydration. Did you want to add a little bit about caffeine?
I love the caffeine.
I'm a fan.
But coffee and tea. So some teas have caffeine as well, these diuretics. Right? So it's just being aware about what you're consuming and making sure that you're also consuming enough water to offset any sort of potential water loss. Even on a hot day, you start sweating a little bit more. You need to replenish the fluids, especially if you're on those medications that are affecting blood volume and blood pressure.
And I think that's important as we get into some warmer months and some hotter days coming up. We should probably be conscious of not just medical interactions, but drinking enough water and staying safe in the heat also could help you prevent a fall due to heat related.
Well, so you're sitting down for a long time out in the summer at a picnic. And you're not drinking enough water, it's hot, so you're sweating a little bit, and then you get up. And then that's when your body just can't regulate the change in position, and so you get dizzy and you pass out, or you fall, or you take a couple steps and then fall. Just being mindful of your surroundings.
And while this isn't a show particularly about nutrition or drug interactions and that sort, I think as we talk about caffeine's impact, we should probably also mention alcohol as a component in that, and how that not only it might interact with medications, but as we age might metabolize differently.
Correct.
And create issues, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Even for some of us who, just in general, it's a good idea to keep an eye on water and a glass of rosé, so we don't have a fall related to alcohol.
It does slow your reflexes, so it's important to know. And also, if you have something like a simple medical procedure where maybe they've given you something because you had a tooth extracted, it may only be a temporary effect, but you still to be aware of that. Yeah. And as I advocate for drinking for water, some of my older adult clients will be like, but I take a water pill, and that's going to increase my frequency of going to the bathroom. So sometimes they stop doing that because they're worried about that. And that's where really looking at your routine and really just planning it out. Don't give up one for the other, but just make sure you're looking at where you're going so that you know where you can find a restroom, or that you're making sure you put that into your routine so that you're not rushing. Right. Because one of the biggest things is people are moving too fast.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And as you mentioned, rushing, and getting somewhere in that relating to a fall, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the physical risk factors, the environmental risk factors that might impact a fall. So I don't know if you can speak to that a little bit, Claire, as your expertise in aging in place and home modifications.
It'll be my pleasure. People have probably heard the look out for scatter rugs. Make sure things are cluttered. I have a lot of really important things in my home that, this one has meaning, and this rug here, we bought it in, wherever. Sure, but look at what's there, and do you really have space to move freely through without catching your knee on the coffee table? Right. Without having to move your body to move through small spaces in your home, to really make sure that you have room to move and turn at all times. So arranging your furniture so that you haven't packed so much into one space, so that people have to start taking side steps or walk backwards to sit on the couch. Right. Or do they really have room to stand up, take a step before they hit the coffee table? Otherwise, you're challenging your balance just doing that. Looking at how you've arranged your kitchen. Are your pots underneath the stove, and so you're constantly going all the way down to the ground to pick them up? Or could you put the things that you use every day between your shoulder and your hip, so that you don't have to challenge your balance? It saves energy. That gives you more energy to do the things you want to do. Right. And you don't have to do it. And so I often think about just looking at the habits of your day to put them in there, but removing clutter. Some people don't like assisted devices like grab bars, but companies make really awesome looking ones now that you can get them in green, yellow, red, whatever. I actually don't have towel racks in my bathroom. I've replaced them all with really nice looking grab bars so that no matter who comes to visit my house, if they reach for something, they can hold on to a grab bar that's embedded into a stud and not pull on a towel rack that then's going to pull them out. Right. You could do it in a way that doesn't make it look institutional.
No, and I think that's a really great way to address getting over the stigma of people adding those sort of safety features into their home because they think, oh, people are going to come over and think, oh, she's older now, she needs this grab bar. I've been in the shower and felt like, oh, what if I fell right now? Like, I don't have anything to grab onto. So I think the more we think about that in terms of our personal safety in general, and not just personal safety when we get to a certain age, right? And making that more accessible for people so that they don't have to worry about the stigma of it, and really making sure that they're safe. So we've addressed clutter and area rugs and these sort of things, and grab bars and other safety features. But what else, in the home environment, lighting, these sort of things that might impact your ability to stay safe and not fall at home.
You really want to make sure that you have proper light and look at how the natural light's coming in. Is it causing a glare that then is playing with your depth perception? Look at the type of rugs you're using. Certain people with certain diagnoses, a busy rug will actually make them more at risk for fall, whereas if you're using a lower pile carpet or a laminate floor or a hardwood floor, you don't have these changes in surface areas is really helpful. I like to do that. If you do need an assisted device, use it. It's not worth the risk of falling. And we'll decorate it. We'll get you one that's the color you want. Like
I've
you
seen
talk
some
to
really
us.
great canes out there that I thought,
Seriously,
oh, that's hot.
it's a style choice. It's
Sure.
not an assistive
It's an
device.
accessory. We should start viewing it as an accessory.
Exactly, like your glasses in your purse or your watch, whatever it is. Make it part of your style and don't not use it and put yourself at risk.
Right.
Looking at the surfaces, the contrast between different areas. Is there a bathroom on the first floor? Does that bathroom have a comfort height toilet so you don't need as much quad strength and you don't have to sit as low as to get down? Those kind of things help. Make sure that night lights that are nice looking, they make a ton of them now, that can come on.
That are
motion censored
right,
or
solar.
light censored. So there are some that just come on at night, so no matter who gets up at night, they can see the pathway there. Whether it's a small child who just needs that light to feel better or someone who needs their path lit on the way to the restroom during the evening.
We talked a little bit about incorporating assistive devices into your personal style, so let's talk about footwear and how that might impact your ability to stay safe and not fall.
It really does. I love wearing flip-flops, but they're not the best balance choice if you have a balance issue. Neither are stilettos, but they are, but really looking at making sure you have a nice tread, that you're dressing for the weather too, and realizing what you're doing, making sure it doesn't have to be a tie shoe, it could be a slip-on shoe. They make really awesome choices that just have a nice rubber sole that can catch so you don't do it, and make sure they fit. I'm also amazed at people who have a style choice that doesn't really fit them, and so they're uncomfortable, so they kick them off, or they're too big, and that actually leads to a trip as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like an orthopedic Velcro sneaker.
No, they make really quality, nice-looking, comfortable, safe shoes these days. It's not, back, when we used to think of mostly an orthopedic-type shoe that wasn't very stylish. Right? There's a lot of choices these days.
For safe choices that are fashionable, and spending your money to make sure you have a good pair of shoes is really
I think there are a number of, different products in that realm that are affordable and accessible to people that, there are a lot of great providers doing that.
And they're available, right? Like I'm thinking around the home too, when you're at night, because you've been drinking all the water, and you get up out of bed and you're going to go to the bathroom to making sure you're put on the proper footwear to make the transition from whatever the floor is in your bedroom to that which is in your bathroom, so you don't trip in the night.
Right.
So that they're close, they're available, and we're using them.
Yeah. So we've hinted at some prevention tips already, grab bars, proper shoes, proper lighting, all these things. So I want to make sure we get time to talk about the importance of exercise in this. So if we could transition to that, Tim, if you could tell us a little bit about the role of exercise in either preventing falls, recovering from falls, however you want to take it.
Yeah, so exercise, as you know, is really important. And it's something we should be doing on a daily basis in order just to kind of maintain our overall health and wellness, keep our body really strong. Just by moving, it pushes our blood and oxygen all throughout our body, kind of keeps our muscles alive, and that's really important for us as we continue to age, to make sure our muscles are constantly being stimulated and are healthy. So exercise can be used in a lot of different ways in regards to falls. From a prevention standpoint, we do see that it's important to engage in about 30 to 40 minutes of activity on a daily basis, and we try to shoot for about 5 days throughout the course of the week. That's kind of really the optimal.
You take 2 rest days, right?
Yeah. And then the thing to really keep in mind too, when we talk about 30 or 40 minutes, it's not that I have to go out and do 30 to 40 minutes like right now in the morning. We can break that up over the course of the day, and it really can be for activities that we enjoy. Oftentimes we start thinking or talking about exercise. Well, do I have to go to a gym? Do I have to go walk on a treadmill? No, not really. Exercise is just planned behavior for a purpose, right, which could be to improve the health of my heart. I'm going to do this specific activity to help my legs get stronger, and whatever that activity is, it's exercise in that basic sense. And so it's really important when we talk about exercise, we're talking about activities that we enjoy, and that's what's important. The ultimate goal is to keep, from a fall prevention standpoint, is we want to keep our legs healthy. And there's a lot of exercises that we can do just in our home. Just practicing getting up and down out of a chair is something which we can do. It doesn't require any equipment. So just standing up and standing back down, and that's something you can do while watching TV during commercial breaks.
Right, absolutely. So, you know, again, the important point of you don't have to go to a gym, you don't have to buy fancy equipment.
Right,
Simply
don't
putting
need
a
it.
chair in front of your TV and practicing sitting up and down out of the chair for a couple minutes a day.
Right,
good.
and so when we talk about exercise, we talk in terms of what's called sets and reps. So how many times I'm going to do the activity, and then when I'm doing that activity, how many times I'm going to kind of do that motion over and over again, which is what we call reps. And so usually we say sets and reps that if you're getting up and down out of the chair 10 times, that's a great place to start.
Right.
And if you're doing that once a day, that's fantastic. Some other activities you can do are just kicking your leg out so that's straight out in front of you, so that you're kind of working the muscle that's on the top of your leg. Standing behind a chair, kind of bringing your heel to your butt, you're working the muscle that's on the back of your leg. These are really important muscles for helping us walk. These are what we call resistance exercise, which are helping to bring strength to our muscles. But in regards to fall prevention, we also want to challenge our body for balance. And so integrating balance activities with strength activities is kind of the most effective way to go about kind of exercising for reducing kind of fall risks.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things on which you can do for
So an
balance.
easy way to get your 30 or 40 minutes a day in is to, you know, take a 10 to 15 minute walk and then come home, and while you're watching TV, do these set of things of the getting up and down from a chair, the leg extensions, and those sort of balance and strength things that you can incorporate.
Exactly, and other kind of balance things you could do is you could position a chair. And what's really important is whenever you're doing balance activities, you're challenging your ability to maintain its balance. So whenever you're doing any sort of balance activities, you need to be safe while doing these things. So position yourself with a chair maybe to hold on to in front, and a wall behind you is a great place to position yourself. And if you're holding onto a chair, some activities you can do is just if you have your feet kind of shoulder width apart, it's just kind of shifting your weight from one side to the center, and from the center to the other side, and then back. We can do that kind of forward and backward. And as you're kind of shifting your weight, your body's kind of picking up on all this kind of stimulus, all these cues, and get your muscles to fire. And that's really important for when we're trying to maintain our balance or correct our balance when we may be in a situation that is kind of we're unbalanced in. So changing the surface, going from a carpet to a hardwood floor, our body has to kind of make adjustments. And so these activities kind of help our body learn how to make those adjustments.
Absolutely. I think that's great. You know, those are some really great low impact examples, and I think we need to remember to not only stay safe in our daily activities, but also while we're exercising to increase our safety. So I really appreciate all of the great information you've both shared today, and I'm surprised at how incredibly fast time goes when we're talking about these things. But I think you've shared some really valuable information with our audience, and so I thank both of you for your time today.
The one thing I would like to add, though, is before engaging in any activity, it's really important that you check with your healthcare provider just to make sure that it's safe for you to be doing that activity, and that they're aware that you're going to be doing these activities around the home, because they may have certain recommendations for you as well. So that's always important.
That is a great point, and they might refer you to a great occupational therapist or exercise professional, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Terrific, terrific. So in addition to our guests, I'd also like to thank all of you for watching this episode of Aging Insights today. For more information and to watch previous episodes, you can go to our website at www.njfoundationforaging.org and click on the Aging Insights page. Aging Insights is produced by the New Jersey Foundation for Aging and is made possible by sponsors and donations from viewers like you. To become an Aging Insights sponsor, please go to the website or call us in the office at 609-421-0206. To find out about senior services in your area, please contact your county office on aging. Their numbers are on our website as well, or you can call the state hotline at 1-877-222-3737. Thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time.